Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F2. This is Season 5, Round 8 here at the Sochi Autodrome in Russia, and of course this is F2 2019 and I cannot wait for this race. Indeed, of course, I am James Head 14, going to be taking you through the action once again for TTL F2, and I cannot wait for the race to begin. Of course, remembering ourselves last week, Afri took the feature race win, with Lyronix taking the sprint race win, so two Germans dominating last week in Italy. And that, of course, is from the sprint and the feature race, respectively. Looking at the performances of the season so far, Afri already out on top, first and fourth last week, which is very good indeed. We also had Spike finishing fourth and second last week, and Lyronix finishing fifth and first. They're the main three title contenders, and the standings are as follows. Afri can win the championship here tonight. There are still, by my calculation, 80 points still available for first position, which means Afri is in the prime spot to take the title here tonight in Russia. 220 points he's on in the Trident. Spike in second on 145 points, with Lyronix in third on 143. Siege in fourth on 124, with Navy in fifth on 100. Sean in sixth on 62. Casper and Maximus tied for seventh on 51. Vic Mill in ninth on 48, and Honey in 10th on 45 points. Schnitzel in 11th on 41, Mays on 36, The Goat on 25, Tim Wenting on 19, Andy on 16, Alan Kay on 6, Racing Bomber, who is not attending here tonight, he's on 5, and S. Graham is on 2 points. Coming into the constructor standings, Trident do lead the way by 226 points. 2 BWT Arden on 195 in second, Carlin third on 174, with Dams in fourth on 163, still very close with the constructors' battles to still unfold. MP Motorsport in fifth on 101, with Campos in sixth on 81, Art Grand Prix in seventh, just a point behind on 80, Sauber Junior team by Charoux in eighth on 64, 3 points behind them is Univertosi, 61 points in ninth, and Prima Racing in 10th on 43 points. So, two DRS zones. This track, of course, based around the old Olympic Park. Obviously, Russia and Sochi hosted the Winter Olympics back in 2014. I know it is 5 years ago. I cannot believe it has been that soon, that far already, that long. But, of course, this is the prime use now of the track, Formula One track, and it was built, as pretty much every track is nowadays, by Hermann Tilke, the German, and he evolved the street circuit, the streets of the Olympic Park, from the internal roads of the park back in the Winter Olympics to the effective street circuit that it is now. First Grand Prix was held here in 2014. Lewis Hamilton took the win, and he won, and he was midway through that 5-race winning streak that would ultimately clinch him the 2014 World Drivers' Championship. 750 metre turn 3, pretty tricky, the left-hander. The back end can step out in these cars. I have been trying the cars here, and they take the drivers actually around the outside of the Popishji fountain. The Popishji fountain. Now, I do apologise if I do pronounce any Russian wrong. I'm just reading it off something that I've got here. The rest of the track is characterised by a series of 90-degree bends with the fast-flowing straights that aren't really that straight, and you'll probably appreciate why, as we see on board with whoever we go on board with, of course, for one-shot qualifying. Only 13 drivers here tonight. Bit of a shame in attendance, bit of a drop from last week, but still more than half the grid, which is good to see, and 13 drivers about to do battle out on track, as I say. Let's have a look at the comment section, see how you guys are doing tonight. I'm expecting the Penguins to be out in force for TTL F2 here tonight. Yeah, the Penguins are definitely out in force here tonight for TTL F2. And of course, we are here in Russia at Sochi, and there is the fountain at turn 3, beautifully poised there, and that is the ice hockey arena on the right hand side, just coming out of turn 10, I think that is, just through the middle sector. That is out of turn 10, and where the DRS detection zone 2 is. 2 DRS zones. Beautiful blue skies. Of course, this Grand Prix hosted, sponsored in real life by VTB. VTB being the host of this Grand Prix here tonight. And the feature race to come up first, 14 laps worth. The sprint race, 11 laps worth of racing. So 25 laps in total for these drivers to get around in Russia. And hopefully the majority of the driving should be all clean here tonight. Nobody launching for any late dive bombs down the inside or anything like that. And of course, Project Cars 2, if you missed that last night, go and watch it back after this. You did miss quite a lot, and quite a lot of fallout has came out, and I will come on to that on Monday, next Monday, of course. We are on board with TTG Navy, who we seem to go on board with every single time. Our favourite driver in one-shot qualifying. Super soft compound of tyres and mediums, the two available to the drivers here tonight. And Navy already ahead, going through the first curve at turn 1. Now running up and up the DRS, 195 under the braking zone into turn 2. It's very tricky right-hander. The drivers will have to go down the escape road if they do miss the corner there. Now through turn 3, past the fountain on the left-hand side, and now through turn 4, famously where the Fish Stadium is, which was hosted, of course, in the World Cup as well as the Winter Olympics, the main stadium within the Winter Olympics, and, of course, the World Cup. Now down towards turn 5, this right-hander, 37.8 through the first sector for Navy, so just a little way off Honey Badger and Spike, who are out on top. Afri, the main title contenders, really right up there at this moment in time. Navy runs very much wide there. He might have to invalidate and come off that lap possibly, but Navy still goes. Spike in the meantime is in 4th, just in behind them as they come through now into turn 10, and now down the second DRS zone, and that's not what we like to see. Navy just applying a bit too much power on the curb there, and he has spun and will quickly get then to Honey Badger, who is currently out on top in the session. Navy does retire from the session, 14.2 from the other Dutchman, as Maximus has retired from the session. Tim Wenting also at the session earlier on. As they now come through into 13, 14, 15 and 16. This tricky left-right chicane to come through now. Again, 90-degree flowing bends here at Sochi. And now through 17 and 18, more 90-degree bends through 17 and 18. And Honey Badger, I think, is going to get pole position here. If he gets the exit out of the final corner, he does. And Honey Badger, miles clear, 5/10 of a second, just over actually, 5/10 of a second. Honey Badger takes it from Afri in second position and will go through the rest of the grid order as it comes up any second now. So one-shot qualifying over and done with, and it is Honey Badger who takes it by 5.5 tenths, quite easy in the end, with a 44.7. Afri in second with a 45.2, just only 200 ahead of Spike in third. Vic Mill within a second of the leader in 4th, Sean in 5th, Mays in 6th, they're quite close together, 300 separating them. Casper and Alan Kay 7th and 8th, with S. Graham and Navy filling out the top 10. Andy, Maximus, Tim Wenting, all disqualified, all invalidated at some point on their laps, which is a real shame, but it is very tricky, this track. I've got to admit, the time the drivers are going to have to be spent keeping themselves within the white lines and not judging out that back end a bit. It is going to be quite something to watch, and there will be, I have a feeling, quite a few penalties here tonight. But one-shot qualifying is over and done with. Formation lap about to begin for the feature race. Sprint race, of course, still to come after this, and we do have 2 races for you here tonight, which is fantastic. We go straight in, of course, to the sprint race as is per usual. The session countdown has just started to 30 seconds, which means I'm going to take another look at the comment section. Of course, if you do want to get in touch, put your predictions in the top 3 of your top 3 in the comment section, and I will read them out over the stream as well. Spike's in, the gang, the Gwyn of Peng. The Gwyn of Peng. Relating to the Penguins, I think, there, to be honest. And Andy coming in 44.7. That's only a few tenths off the world record time trial times, I'm sure. I think it's a 44.2 or 44.3, I think it is, the world record time. I'm pretty sure around this track. Formation lap now beginning, as I said at the start of the stream. 14 laps for the drivers to take hold of here tonight. And a difference in the strategies. We'll go with the super soft runners first. Afri, Vic Mill, Mays, S. Graham, Maximus and Tim Wenting all on the super softs. They're of course going to be quicker in the first half of this race than the second half, because they do have to make that mandatory pit stop, of course. And then the medium compound tyres, we've got Honey Badger, Spike, Sean, Casper, Alan Kay, Navy and Andy pretty much a half split pretty much there. 7 on the mediums, 6 on the super soft compound of tyres. There is the Fish Stadium, by the way, on the left-hand side. That is where they Russia hosted some of the World Cup games in Sochi when that was taking place in 2018. Also, of course, we are at the street circuit, which is the internal road that actually interlinked with the park back there in 2014 when the Winter Olympics was hosted in February of that year. But we are about halfway through the lap. I'll try and point out some more landmarks. Of course, this is quite a mountainous region. It is in the southern half of Russia, and this is quite a mountainous region, Sochi. So you'll probably see the mountains in the background, and that is where actually all the skiing and stuff like that took place. So it's quite thingy. On the left-hand side there's the Olympic Village, just off the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I think it's the curling arena, if I make sure, if I get it right. I think it's the curling arena on the right-hand side. And then again, we come now down past the ice hockey arena on the right-hand side, just coming out of the camera shot there, and then back towards the grandstand and towards turns 17 and 18 here tonight. Just giving you a bit of facts, really, about this. It is quite a slow formation lap, to be honest, which gives me time to go through and predict my top 3. And my top 3 prediction for tonight is Afri for the win, Honey Badger for second, and in third, let's go for Vikmil. I'm going to have Vikmil in third. Navy, I have a feeling, will do quite well here as well, as we are on board now with Spike. As we come towards the end of this formation lap, just checking through the comments again. No more comments came through, so we are about to get going here for 14 laps worth of racing here. And there is the beautiful roller coaster in the background of shot. We'll try and get a better camera angle. On board with Spike. Honey Badger and Afri's had some contact on the formation laps. That's why they're still in their grid positions. But now we get underway. Here we go. The 5 red lights. That is a terrible camera angle. We'll try and pick it up. 5 red lights then about to go out for the feature race here in Russia. Lights and away we go. Bit of a jump start there by Spike. Got a good one though. Sean very slow off the line. Afri and Honey Badger very quick off the line. It's Afri who's got the better start. And they now come through the kink of turn 1. Andy and S. Graham just losing positions in the background. There's back 3 wide in the background there, but Afri leads them down into turn 1. Spike trying to go around the outside of Honey Badger. Going to be very close, and Spike gets the move done. Right on the inside line, turning onto the inside line through turn 2. And beautiful move, and Afri has now got pressure from Spike. Honey Badger in third, Vic Mill in fourth, relatively all clean in behind, which is good to see. Honey Badger trying to have a look up the inside of Spike as they come through turn 4, and towards the end of the first sector, Maximus and Andy having a bit of a squabble there in the background. Andy and Maximus, that looks like actually... No, I thought there was somebody off there in the background. Everyone clean, but Afri leads the way. 6/10 of a second. Is he going to make sure as Tim Wenting goes up the inside of turn 7? That is at the right hander there through turn 7, and he gets the move done. Now through turns 8 and 9, and the super soft compound of tyre runners pretty much in the halfway point of the first lap, and Afri leads the way by a second out on track. The super softs coming of age early on. Spike in second, Honey Badger in third, Vic Mill fourth, Sean in fifth, Tim Wenting in sixth, Casper seventh, Navy trying to close in as well. There is Tim Wenting trying to go on his teammate. Tim Wenting now around the outside of Sean, and that is Vic Mill trying to hunt up the inside of Honey Badger as well. Tim is through on Sean, and Casper has just defended off Navy for now, but Navy with the traction, trying to go around the outside now into turn 15 and 16, the left and right, but Casper holds on firm, and I'll tell you what, Casper doing a great defensive drive, and Vic Mill is on the outside line. Honey Badger slots in, so Vic Mill has gone third as well. Relatively all clean. S. Kramer's had a spin, I think, round at the background. I think it was on the exit of turn 10 on the right-hander. But Afri leads the way, 1.3 seconds. What a clean opening lap that is. Spike in second, Vic Mill in third, Honey Badger in fourth, Tim Wenting filling out the top 5. Navy and Casper going side by side. Navy now on the inside line, coming towards turn 2. Sean trying to get heat into those mediums by the looks, just a little bit of weaving. Navy down the inside line, gets the move done on Casper. Very good driving by both of them, and there is Mays trying to get involved as well. Casper defends that inside line. Mays trying to go around the outside on the super softs. Very off camber corner this, and Mays with the traction going to launch it up the inside of turn 4, and the Dams car is through. So Mays using that, of course, transfer, the driver transfer that he had. Mays is through, and he's up to 8th position. Of course, he is in the Dams now rather than the Univitosi car. And Gort not being here, which means no Univitosi representatives actually here tonight as well. Casper and Maximus now battling out for 9th and 10th, just in behind. So the point scoring positions are Afri, Spike, Vic Mill, Honey Badger, pretty much the top 10 as you see it. We'll go on board with Navy, who's right on the back of Sean. We'll go on board actually as they come past the arenas on the right hand side, and Navy right in the background of shot here. The MP Motorsport trying to get past the Campos. And Navy on the inside line. Going to be late on the brakes, I think. Is he going to back it off? Bit of a half commitment there from Navy. He's trying to see around the outside and onto the inside line. Bit of a switch back. Not quite. Mays is through on Casper as well, just in behind. So Mays making good progress through the field. Trying to keep up with pretty much everything that's going on. Casper just hanging off the camber of the corner. And Maximus gets caught on the curb on the inside. No contact there, I don't think. Maximus just purely got caught on the inside curb. And he is spun round at turn 15. Vic Mill now chasing down Spike as Afri has set the new fastest lap for the race with a 48.6 as they approach lap 3. And onto lap 3, in fact, Afri leads the way 2 seconds, the gap from Spike in second, with Vic Mill in third. And here comes the BWT Arden trying to launch it up the inside, the pole, down the inside of the Brits. And pretty much side by side as they come out turn 2, Vic Mill on the outside line, hanging off the camber of the corner, remember here. Spike on the inside line, will have the run through just about, but Vic Mill on the exit of the corner at turn 3, launches it up the inside on Spike. Spike ran wide. Bit of contact there, bit of banging wheels, nothing much more than that. And Spike keeps the position and he holds on to P2. Vic Mill, I think, wise, and he gave the position back there actually. So Spike is up to P2. Vic Mill back into P3. Honey Badger right on the back, and look at how they've closed up. Mace has picked up a 3-second time penalty as well for track limits. Andy now on the inside of Alan Kay, the Scot trying to get past the Irishman, and he's got the move done down into turn 7. And Andy's got the move done on Alan Kay. Fantastic stuff. Alan Kay trying to have a hunt around the outside actually here, trying to go for it in the Trident. Switch back off turn 9. And Alan Kay now on the outside line, Andy on the inside line, defending the position well, and just about holding on, but I think Alan Kay is going to get the move done around the outside. They are split across the track. Vic Miller's getting the position on Spike. We'll come back on board with that in just a minute, but we'll focus on board with this great battle between the Irishman and the Scotsman of Alan Kay and Andy as they come now down, and Alan Kay gets the move done under the brakes. He's got the move done, runs slightly wide into turn 11, but not quite, and Andy gets the move done. Sorry, Alan Kay gets the move done on Andy, and he is up to P10. Back on board with the battle for second. Vic Mill and Spike with Honey Badger. Tim Wenting! And Spike's lost it from the final corner. Just applied a bit too much power there. He's got to make sure he rejoins in a safe manner. He reverses. Yeah, that's a good spot. And the ghosting system does come into play there. Just having to take a ball in action. Nothing could be done about that. Spike just using a bit too much power on the exit of the corner, and he's now down to 9th position, and it's going to be a hell of a fight from there. The mediums possibly may not be running at the temperature that we might have thought they would be, with the Super Softs runners now first and second, and Tim Wenting in fourth as well. The Super Softs clearly coming into their own in this first half of the race, as I alluded to. We're only on lap 4 out of 14. A lot of action has taken place. We'll try and dissect it all as we go into the second half of the race, but it's Afri who leads by 3 seconds. He got the break very early on and pulled out a 1.5-second lead at the end of lap 1. Vic Mill now in second with Honey Badger in third. Tim Wenting in fourth. We'll go on board though with Maximus, who was on the back of Alan Kay. Maximus, of course, after that spin coming out of turn 15 and 16. Now coming on the back of Alan Kay, and Spike as well on the back of Mays. The two Dams cars doing a good job. And Spike right on the back of Mays here. We're going to see possible team orders, I wonder. Spike clearly going to be the quicker driver, I would imagine, and he's got the DRS open. This is going to be a clean sailing move from Spike. Mays sticks to the left-hand side, sticks to his line, and Spike is through on his teammate. Spike and the two Dams swap positions. So Spike up to 8th, Mays down to 9th. Maximus is through on Alan Kay as well, around the outside into turn 12. Fantastic stuff for Maximus. got the move done. Clearly had the overspeed coming down the straight. Maximus is through and he's up to P10, so he takes Alan Kay's potential final point off him. We'll go back on board with the battle for second. Honey Badger right on the back of Vic Mill. Clearly now the medium's beginning to come into play. 4/10 the gap. Vic Mill the pole, defending off the Dutch man of Honey Badger. And Honey Badger, is he going to try and launch it down the inside here, I wonder? He is. He's going to launch it down the inside. Vic Mill holds it around the outside. Fantastic stuff by the BWT Arden. Vic Mill held his ground and held his firm and got the switch back through turn 2, and Vic Miller's through and he's back into that second position with Honey Badger trying to hunt him down in third. And we'll take this on board actually with Tim Wenting. Spike is through on Casper, that is through turn 3. I'm not sure if Casper has had a moment actually. Let's just see if they've picked up any damage. Nope, no damage visible on Casper, so I think that's just a position done. Spike through on Casper for 7th position. Of course, if anything comes to light after the race, of course it will be investigated. Honey Badger right on the back of Vic Mill, and it is still only 4/10 of a second, and the Super Soft's not really making an impact now, because you can see Tim in behind. He's about second behind now on Honey Badger, and Honey Badger just beginning to come into play, and down this long straight he can try and capitalise on his straight line speed and try and get the move done on Vic Mill. It's going to have to be from a long way back though. Honey Badger down the inside, bit of a half commitment, bit of a lag moment there actually from Vic Mill and Honey Badger. Vic Mill holding it firm and still defensively is brilliant. Vic Mill hold to position. Honey Badger now down the inside. We take this from an onboard shot, of course. Vic Mill defending again. Honey Badger goes for the switch back. Vic Mill just got caught on the curb slightly. Honey Badger trying to launch it up the inside at 17. Not quite. And Vic Mill is holding firm in second. But look who is in behind. And in fact, Tim Wenting is into the pit. So Tim is into the pit in the Campos. So he's into the pits. Sean will be going on for another couple of laps. Still on board with the battle for second though. Honey Badger, Vic Mill. This is much closer. He's going to be job done, I think, down into turn 1. Or down into turn 2, I should say. Honey Badger and Vic Mill. This should be job done, I think. Vic Mill, no response. He could try and get the run off the corner, which he has done, and he has got the outside line, which will hang him off the camber of the corner. You can see them split apart by a hair's breadth here. Vic Mill and Honey Badger. Honey Badger on the inside, Vic Mill round the outside, now on the inside line into turn 4, and again, the defensive driving on show from Vic Mill is brilliant, but now, can he battle off Honey Badger once again? Into turn 5 they go at the end of sector 1. He's 6/10 down his personal best, and Honey Badger has got the position, finally, Honey Badger. He had to wait for a bit, but Honey Badger has got the move done for now, and he's up to second place. The medium compound of tyres clearly coming into effect now, with the Super Softs down in third position. As we approach the halfway stage, it is Afri who does lead the way. Honey Badger in second, Vic Mill in third. We'll focus then on the battle for fifth at the moment. Sean and Spike, 5/10 of a second, coming out of turn 9, that is, now into turn 10, the right-hander, and 3/10 of a second separating the Campos and the Dams. And Spike with a better run-off, much better run-off compared to Sean. Vic Mill and Honey Badger are going to go at it once again, I think, for second place. We're going back on board with that in just a moment. But Spike on the outside line now, hanging on to the inside line, has got the move done around the outside on the straight. He gets the move done, he's up to P5, so making a good recovery drive and trying to capitalise on potential poor results further down the field. I'm thinking all the major title contenders are here. Afri is into the pits. So Afri in, Vic Mill in as well. So the Super Softs only lasting around halfway. Of course, the sprint for the sprint race, they don't have to make that mandatory pit stop, so it will be lights to flag action for the sprint race. And that leaves Honey Badger now in a clear lead. Can he do the undercut, I wonder? Or the overcut in this case. Afri and Vic Mill are now out the pits. They go into a set medium compound of tyres. Maximus is also in as well. So pretty much 5 of them have pitted now. Let's have a look at the stops. Who's pitted? Afri, Vic Mill, Tim Wenting, Mays and S. Graham have all pitted once. And there's Alan Kay and there is Afri. So the two Tridents are coming out right beside each other here. And Alan Kay will hold on to that position for now. So the Irishman and the German now about to battle for P6 position out on track. Alan Kay hanging on to the outside line there, and that is a let through from Afri from Alan Kay. Two Tridents working together, and he doesn't want to get involved in the lead battle. The net leader of the race, Afri, leading around 4.6 seconds, I think it was, coming into the pits. So Alan Kay will just hold firm and be like a rear gunner at this stage, I would imagine. He is doing well. He might have to come into the pit soon though, I would imagine, as will the other medium runners, of course. And now we can really take on board with some of the drivers that we haven't necessarily gone on board with so far this race. Honey Badger, of course, in the lead. Navy in second, doing a good job. Didn't really get the run off the start. Let's have a look at position changes and see how the start has really capitalised and how the pit stops have changed things. 8 positions gained for Navy, not 8 stops, goodness me. 8 positions gained for Navy. So he's the most of the gainers currently. 4 positions gained for Tim Wenting from the back of the field. Of course, he had that disqualified lap, invalidated lap in one-shot qualifying. 2 gained for Casper. He's up from 7th to 5th. 1 gained as well for Sean, Alan Kay and Andy. Casper is into the pits. That was a bit early on the mediums. He was 7/10 up on that lap as well, so he's really done an in-lap here, Casper. He is into the pits. Where's he going to come out? I think he'll be out just ahead of Mays, I would imagine, with this. The pit stop crew are ready for him. Trust me, they are ready, because the Super Soft has now gone on and Casper out of the pits, drives through his pit mechanics. That's fantastic to see. Mays coming through turn 17, and there is Casper. And he's just on the exit of the pit lane, so he's going to be well out in front of Mays, and he's just going to slot in behind Andy as well. And he's the only one at the minute on a set of Super Soft compounder tyres out there, out on track. So he is going to try and capitalise on some of the guys possibly going towards lap 8, lap 9, lap 10 maybe even in some cases for the medium compound of tyres. Let's focus then on the closest battle currently out on track. Vic Mill and Tim Wenting. Tim Wenting has came into the pits a lap earlier than Vic Mill. Vic Mill now 1.5 seconds ahead of him. Tim chasing him down. So the Pole and the Dutchman probably going to do battle in a couple of laps time, I would imagine, if the heat has got into the Dutchman's tyres. And Tim Wenting now through turn 8. Vic Mill through turn 8 and then into turn 9. Course, and then into turn 10, the right-hander here as they come past once again on the big landmarks on the right-hand side, the curling arena, the ice hockey arena as well on the right-hand side of track as well. And of course, if you are just tuning in, this is Sochi, this is TTL F2, we are halfway through. Honey Badger from the lead is into the pits, and Vic Mill is hunting down Alan Kay as well. So Honey Badger is into the pits, Navy into the pits. Spike continues on for another lap, Sean continues on for another lap. Afri will... Let's have a look where Honey Badger is. He's into his pit box now in the MP Motorsport. Sorry, in the Alcorn Pre-Car. Honey Badger is into the pit on a set of Super Soft compound of tyres. He will be released, and he has been held up slightly there by Navy. That is going to cost him in the fight for Afri. Afri is now out of the pits. Well, he's already out of the pits, and he is already ahead. And Vic Mill, I think, is just going to be ahead of Honey Badger here as well. Let's have a look at how close it's going to be. There is Honey Badger on the inside line, actually. Let's see when they come out the pits. And I think Vic Mill is just by the skin of his teeth going to be ahead. Honey Badger will just have to sell them behind here and just wait for his move to be done further on in the race. And Tim Wenting now beginning to close up as well. So Vic Mill is now just ahead of Honey Badger. This is for a net P2 currently out on track, and you would imagine this would favour the Super Soft runner coming into the second half of this race. Honey Badger right on the back of Vic Mill, and he is roughly around 6 seconds off Afri. That is not a gap that should be taken lightly. That gap will come down quite a lot when Honey Badger gets past Vic Mill, which I think might be now. Ooh, he was trying to go down the inside there into turn 7. Not quite. Again with the run-off though. Now down the inside into turn 8. Not really an overtaking corner, to be honest, but with the run off the corner, Honey Badger will get the move done, and it's a fantastic move as well. Vic Mill giving plenty of space. That's what we like to see. Clean, crisp, good action out on track, and Honey Badger's got the move done. He's now into net P2, but he's into 4th place, currently out on track. And Tim, of course, will try and close in on this as well. Vic Mill with the DRS, but Honey Badger just literally cuts him off on the defensive line there. Honey Badger holds on to the position as they come down the straight through turn 12 and then into 13, 14, 15 and 16, which is this left-right combination. Tim then just in behind as Spike and Sean are into the pits. They're going to be coming out around Casper Navy sort of area, I would imagine. Spike into the pits, of course, going into a set of Super Soft compound of tyres, and everyone has pitted, actually. Everyone is now pitted out on track. These two are the only ones to come out of the pits. The Spike coming out of the pit lane now. Let's have a look at the fastest lap, actually. 48.4 for Afri coming in the fastest lap, and just as I said that, 48.2 for Casper, so he's still the fastest lap currently. Spike is out ahead of Casper, and Sean is out behind Casper. So there you go. He's out behind Casper, which is not too bad actually. Casper, oh, Spike just with colder tyres, just overrunning the curb there, just went too deep into turn 1 and just locked up. And Spike is now just got to try and gain that little bit of time that he lost as a result of that mistake. Not really anything happening out on track now. Lap 10 out of 14. It's Afri who leads by 4.2 seconds from Honey Badger in second. Vic Mill in third, still trying to stick to him nicely. 1.9 seconds only that gap. Tim Wenting has dropped off by a couple of tenths this lap. 2.2 seconds the gap coming through 8 and 9. Navy is in 5th, hunting him down with Spike in 6th, Casper in 7th, Sean in 8th, Maze in 9th, Maximus in 10th, filling out the top 10. Everyone's still going around out on track. We've got Alan Kay in 11th, and he is on a set of super soft compound tyres. Don't be surprised if you see him actually in the pit, in the points tonight. I've got to be honest. Mace has just been hunted down by Maximus, so we'll go on board with this for now, and then we'll focus on an ever-developing story out in front. Afri, Honey Badger, 3.1 seconds the gap now between the German and the Dutchman. This is going to be really intense. Honey Badger trying to make himself, his name known, of course, here tonight as a potential future championship contender as we move into TTL F2 next season, with only 3 rounds to go this season. And of course there will be changes afoot for that as well. That will be announced at a later date. Maximus though chasing him down, it's a second the gap. Sean as well chasing down Casper, 1.9 seconds the gap between these two. Sean on much, you would say, fresher tyres. Casper has got the temperature into those tyres though, and he is 3.8 seconds behind Spike in 7th. Spike in 6th, obviously just ahead. Sean in 8th. But we'll go on board for now with this battle, this ever-developing battle for the lead. We have given a lot of drivers a lot of airtime really here out on track, so we'll focus on this battle for the lead at the moment. 2.1 seconds the gap between Afri and Honey Badger, and Honey Badger begin to hunt him down. The Supersoft's clearly going to come into the west. They'll only work though for 4 or 5 laps, and then they'll begin to fall off the cliff, which will be right at the end of the race. So it'll be lap 13, lap 14 we're talking about with this. As I will check the comment section as well. I'm sure you guys are enjoying the streams so far here out on track, and indeed my commentary, and indeed everything. Good evening to TIGS, who has joined in from one of my other leagues, who has followed me here. Good evening to the Dutchman, and good evening to Jordan as well. Sean has got this, he says. Yeah, Sean doing quite well actually. He's in 8th position, trying to hunt down Casper, but Honey Badger at the moment right on the back of Afri, and it's 1.4 seconds. This is going to be tied towards the line. If Afri can defend off Honey Badger, then he might have nicked the championship here and then, but Honey Badger is going to make sure he tries and steals his thunder here tonight. And another developing story just in behind, with Maximus and Maze actually quite close. We'll go on board with this. Maximus hunting down with the lap pressure tyres, and the mediums beginning to hunt down Maze. This is for 9th and 10th out on track. And of course Maximus in the Sabre Junior team by Sharu car. The Dams of Maze, of course, the eagle-eyed amongst you may see that he has changed cars. Yes, he has changed from the Univertosi, and he's used his driver transfer from Univertosi to Dams, which is where he is in. So he's back in the Dams from last season. 2 battles developing. Honey Badger, Afri, Navy, and Tim Wenting, who runs very wide. Oh, nearly clips the wall on exit of turn 4. Goodness me, that was inches close. That was inches apart from hitting the wall there. Goodness me. Tim rejoins safely, but Navy now on the back. Can the Dutchman get his fellow compadre down the inside into turn 7? Not quite. Now they come through 8 and 9, the double left hander. 90-degree corners fluctuating through this track. 7/10 of a second between the 2 leaders as well. We'll go back on board with that in just a moment. With 2.5 laps to go, it is Afri who leads. 6/10 of a second, with Honey Badger in 2nd. Vic Mill 3rd. Tim Wenting in 4th, but here is Navy on the back. Tim actually trying to break the slipstream there. Navy on the outside line is going to have a job done. He's on the inside line coming through into turn 11 and turn 12. He gets the move done, so Navy is through and he's up to P4. to the battle for the lead. Afri and Honey Badger, 0.6 of a second separating. This is absolutely fantastic stuff. Out on track, and with only 2 laps to go, it is in the balance, this race. It is really, honestly, in the balance, this race. 0.5 of a second, as I am loving the spam and the dolphins in the chat there by Darkbolt. 0.5 of a second between Honey Badger and Afri. Now, this is really where Honey Badger has got to try and wait and pick his spot to try and get the move done here on Afri. 0.3 of a second, and honestly, I think the Dutchman might just nick this, but Afri, remember, the super softs are going to be wearing away at this stage. Tim Wenting also quite close to Navy as they come down the straight into turns 1 and 2. Now through turn 3, that is. Honey Badger still on the back, and we'll try and focus on both battles at the same time if we can. Maximus and Maze as well, quite close, and in fact, Maze is under pressure here from Maximus. We'll focus on the battle for 9th and 10th and just for now, and Maximus on the outside line has got the overspeed, and the Sauber Junior is through, and he's up to P9, so Maximus up to P9, Maze down to P10, and the lap fresher mediums now just beginning to come into play, I think, there. Back on board with the battle for the lead, though. Honey Badger, Afri, 0.5 of a second. Just gets caught on the curb, just gets caught out a little bit there, and Afri has got a bit of breathing room running down the straight. Not going to be caught this time around. Honey Badger will have to wait till the start-finish straight, I think, to try and pull off a move. Afri is defending well. Can he pick up the championship here tonight? Of course, 80 points I make it as up for grabs for the wins here tonight. 40 points each, plus the fastest laps, which will be 82 points. So, Afri could win it here, but he could also win it in the sprint race, and we'll probably try and confirm you and do live maths after the stream has ended, and we'll try and get that posted out to you as soon as possible. Afri leads the way onto the final lap of the race. This is the feature race, remember. S. Graham is just ahead out on track, but Honey Badger hunting him down. The Dutchman on the German, beginning to hunt down his prey, and Honey Badger is going to have to be forced around the outside line into turn 1. Afri will hold the inside line, but Honey Badger on the outside line, just about, but Afri, I think, is going to hold on to this around the outside. The camera on the corner will cut away, and Afri defends it well, and he holds on to the position. Honey Badger will try and come back at him through turn 4, not quite. Tim Wenting is through as well on Spike, and look at this is Navy, Spike and Tim Wenting in 4th position. Goodness me, Spike coming out of nowhere. The super softs clearly coming into play. Honey Badger right on the back of Afri, trying to launch it down the inside of turn 5. It's all kicking off here. I'll try and keep up with it all, but I think Honey Badger's now time is beginning to run out. He tried to launch it down the inside, I think, but again, Afri defended it well. There is still traffic in the way. That is S. Grim just ahead. Maze and Maximus as well going at it. There's a lot going on. Spike on the back of Navy. We'll focus on the battle for 4th just for now. Navy and Spike and Tim Wenting fighting for 4th. There are green flags just ahead. I think that was S. Graham probably getting out of the way of the leaders, and I think Afri is going to take this, you know. Afri is going to take this. Here is Spike on Navy. This is going to be late stuff. Can the Dutchman try and defend this? But the Brit, and now Tim Wenting just a little way off. Spike will have P4, and he is up the inside. Navy just had a bit of a lock up there, actually, one of the two. And Tim Wenting coming through in 6th position now through the final couple of corners. Afri has mastered the strategy here. The medium compounder tyres have lasted to the end, and Afri will take the feature race win. Round the final corner, he takes it, another lap, and Honey Badger might have been right on top of him and possibly past him. Vic Mill coming across the line in 3rd, good performance from him. Spike in 4th, and I think I've got my prediction right. I haven't got my prediction right, because Spike has nicked it by 1900th. Absolutely disgraceful from Spike. He takes my prediction away. Absolutely terrible, but good performance from Spike nonetheless. Navy in 5th, Tim Wenting in 6th, Sean in 7th, Casper in 8th. A lot of penalties, as I alluded to. Maze is being hunted down late on by Maximus, and that is Alan K right on the back of them as well. Alan could try and pick up a point. If any of these have got penalties, it is going to be quite close. Maze across the line, then it's Maximus, and Maze had penalties, so Maximus, Alan K changed the positions around, and Andy's still going around in that Arc Grand Prix car. It has been a great result for the Arc Grand Prix team. Honey Badger finishing 2nd. Honey Badger, Andy, sorry, gets a 3-second time penalty there for corner cutting. But 12th place, I think he'll be happy with that. And the Scotsman, of course, baby steps, improvements all the way here in TTL F2, round the final corner, and he sprinted across the line in dramatic style. Sprint race still to come, but it is Afri who takes it by 0.5 of a second from Honey Badger in second, and we'll give you podium celebrations and the grid order in just a moment. Top step of the podium goes the trialing car of Afri and TIGS. I totally agree, very good racing, probably one of the best feature races all season if I've got to be honest, very late on especially. 11 laps of the sprint race still to come. Los Toriados now goes off in the background, and the German is to the top step of the podium, and by my calculations I think he's wrapped up the championship with that win. With Spike finishing further down the field, who was in second, and Ironics missing as well. I think Afri has nicked it. Afri takes the win, Honey Badger in second. Spike finished third as a result of penalties, so Spike actually gets third. However, with it is 10 points separating. It was an 82 point gap. It was a big gap coming into this race. It was 75 points coming into this. I think Afri has taken it. Honey Badger second, Spike in third, Vic Mill fourth, Navy, Tim Wenting, Sean, Casper, Maximus, Alan Kay filling out the top 10, gets that point which he so rightly deserved. Mays in 11th, Andy in 12th, and S. Graham in 13th position. Sprint race still to come, so buckle up and get your popcorn at the ready, because this is going to be fantastic. The sprint race, of course, top 8 reversed, so wherever you saw the top 8 in that race, they're reversed, so 8th goes first, 7th goes second, etc, etc, until we get to 1st to 8th, of course. And if you are new to F2 racing, why don't join us for next season? It is going to be quite a big season next season for TTL F2, and there will be an announcement due out in a couple of weeks, I would imagine, for the new season, and I'm sure we will be having quite a popular demand for the league to be expanded a little bit, and that's what we are hoping for here in TTG, of course. Why don't you come in and join on the fun? Honestly, it's great. It's fantastic. Formation lap again about to begin for the sprint race. 13 drivers about to do battle around 11 laps of the sprint race track here in Sochi, and Casper will lead us off the grid. So Casper out in first position, Sean in second, Tim Wenting in third. Campos could do quite well here in the constructors, second and third off the beginning. Of course, they finished 6th and 7th in the last race. Navy in 4th, with Vic Mill in 5th, Spike in 6th, Honey Badger in 7th, Afri in 8th, Maximus, Alan Kay filling out the top 10, Mays, Andy and S. Graham. It's a waste of time really going to see what strategy everyone is on. You don't really need a strategy in the sprint race, but everyone is on the medium compound of tyres, and there is no mandatory pit stops in the sprint race, so it is lights to flag action for TTL F2, the sprint race here tonight. Let's have a look at the comments, see what you guys are coming for. Yeah, you are ready for it. You better be ready for it, because this is going to be fantastic stuff, and of course it is going to be really, really great stuff. As I say, I think Afri took up with that race win. It of course remains to be seen. If he gets a good result here, he by most certainly, I think, will have wrapped up the championship going into next week's race. And of course we do have next week's racing here on Tuesday, and sadly I will not be here next Wednesday to Saturday as well, so just to point that out, I have informed Mays about that, but just to go across the seam, I won't be here next Wednesday to Saturday, as I am away from my PS4 for 3 or 4 days, which is absolutely fantastic. That's what you need. Nice break. Of course, coming into tonight, Afri was on 220 points, Spike on 145. I think Siege obviously hasn't attended here tonight. Navy could actually take 4th position, possibly even 3rd maybe if he gets a good result here. 15 points of course available for the drivers, and it is the point system, of course. Top 10 get points, different point system to the feature race, and I will tell you the points now. It is 15, 12, 10 for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, then there's 8, 6, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the rest of the points scoring, as we are about to get going for 11 laps worth of action. The sprint race about to begin, And this should be over in quite a flash, I would imagine. This is going to be hard, fast, clean racing here. Everyone, take your time into turn 1. Of course, the racing does not want to be won. It does not want to be won in turn 1. And we'll change the camera angle now as the 5 red lights are about to go out for the sprint race here in TTL F2 Russia. Long haul, but it's a light down, and away we go, and Casper gets a very good start off the line. Tim Wenting has got a very good start as well. Sean going to be mopped up, I think, by Navy as well, and the run through into turn 1. And again, everyone clean off the start, breaking away into 2 packs. The top 8 have broken away, and then the rest of the field just battling out in behind. Tim Wenting ran the outside into turn 1. Casper on the inside line. Brilliant move though by Tim, around the outside onto the inside line. There is a spinner in the background. There's Mays, who is round. I'm not sure if there was contact possibly with S. Graham or Andy there, I would imagine. But Mays is round in the background. Tim Wenting though leads the way, 0.4 of a second. They're all Constantine up in behind. Spike has got the move on Sean Dunn, and Spike is up to 3rd, and that is Afri. That is Afri losing his front wing there. Alan Kay takes hold of that. I think Afri just locked up, just had a bit of a squirm on, and he's lost his left side end plate there, so it's very costly for Afri. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if there was a bit of a Constantino with Honey Badger and Navy just in front of him. But as Maximus is trying to go up the inside of Alan Kay, hard, fast, pretty much clean, I would say, racing. As Maximus tries to hunt around the outside of Alan Kay, not quite. But Tim Wenting leads the way. Position gains at the end of lap 1. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. That is Andy, who was spun at the exit of turn 10. Tim Wenting leads Casper 2nd, Spike, Vic Mill, Sean, Honey Badger and Navy going side by side as they come down into the braking zone, and Navy is nearly into the wall there. Honey Badger around the outside line has got it. Honey Badger holds on to the position around the outside. Navy, of course, got the inside line and the move done. And Afri is going to have to come into the pits, I think, to repair that damage. It has cost him quite a lot. He might have wrapped up the championship, but it is no foregone conclusion here tonight. And Afri is into the pits to repair that front wing. So what could have been championship point scoring is now down to the back of the field. So Afri is now into the pits. Of course, he can pick up the fastest lap point, which is available for the sprint race. Once on lap 2, and Tim leads the way from by 0.4 of a second from Casper in 2nd. Breaking the toe there in the background. Sean trying to break the toe on Casper. Alan Kay and Maximus going side by side into turn 1. Maximus holding the outside line. Runs off the track just about, but Alan Kay holding it around the outside, and the Irishman holds it firm. As we see Vic Mill and Spike very close to the action here. Sean and Honey Badger going at it. There's a lot of action here in the sprint race once again. Tim just being closed up by Casper. And I had a bit of a mistake there. Honey Badger trying to go up the inside of turn 5 at the end of sector 1, of course. Through sector 1 they come, and now into sector 2. Navy trying to hunt on the background of Honey Badger, onto the back of Honey Badger, I should say, as well, in 7th position, and Honey Badger right on the back of Sean. Of course, everyone on the set medium compound of tyres, apart from Afri, who came into the pits and has gone for the set of super softs, as Maximus tries to nick it up the inside there of Alan Kay. The Brit and the Irishman doing battle here, and Sean has been overtaken down the straight by Honey Badger. So Honey Badger has got the move done finally. Patience pays off here in TTL F2, and Navy on the back as well. Go on board actually with Navy. Sean trying to hold it around the outside. The Campos car goes a bit deep. Honey Badger around the outside, a little bit of contact there. Not the greatest camera angle, I'm afraid, but Sean is going to have to rejoin in a good manner, and he has. Navy, I think, trying to hunt around the outside. Sean went in too deep. I think it's pretty much just a racing incident, that. A little bit of contact, just a bit too much contact there. Navy, I think, probably not the beneficiary out of that, because I think he will probably be that incident will probably definitely be investigated. I have a feeling it's a racing incident. Of course, that will be found out with footage. Tim Wenting sets a new fastest lap of the race. Casper, Spike find out 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and these top 4 have pulled away. 2.3 seconds the gap to Honey Badger in 5th, running with the space themed helmet, which is actually very nice indeed. Honey Badger in 5th. And Kay, Navy into the wall, and he's out the race. Loses it on the apex of turn 2. Maximus is on the back of Alan Kay in the meantime, as Maximus now tries to hold the inside line. Alan Kay, we could have a safety car as a result of that car being stricken on track. I have a feeling though it will only come out when somebody leaves the session. GG Codemasters on that. But halfway through the end of towards the end of lap 3 we come. We are through the middle sector, so we're halfway through the lap actually. Tim Wenting leads the way by 0.4 per second. Now extending that gap out slightly, but Casper just making sure he hits the apexes nicely. He's on the back in second. Spike is in third, Vic Mill is in fourth. Maximus, however, right on the back of Alan Kay. Sean as well on Mays. Mays recovering well after his mistake. Or after his contact actually earlier on. As now Spike is on the back of Casper. Not going to lunge it down the inside. The Brit very close to the back of Spike. And Navy leaves the session there. Alan Kay and Maximus swapping and trading positions. And Maximus is through once again on Alan Kay. He's up to P6. Mays and Sean going side by side down the straight as well. Sean being overtaken there by Mays. In fact, Mays has held the position, Mays has held the position. He's into 9th. Holds on, and Sean is in 10th. Sean was trying to go on the outside of him there. Bit of battling going on. Spike suddenly up to second. Casper has lost the position somewhere out on track. I have a feeling that was through 15 and 16 where we lost that. Vic Mill now on the back of Casper, right on board with the pole. The BWT Arden right on the back of Casper's Carlin. And that is pure alliteration at its finest. Vic Mill trying to hunt around the outside line. Turn 1. He I thought he was going to have to take the escape board there. He cuts the corner slightly. There was a yellow flag in sector 3. Not sure who that is. Looking at the timing screens, I think it might be Andy. I have a feeling it might be Andy. It is Andy, I think, ran in the final sector. And he has lost time. Sean has got Mays down the inside of turn 1. He's got the move done. And Alan Kay and Maximus still fighting it out. Alan Kay down the inside of Maximus. And again, they're battling here. Halfway down the field in the mid-pack. Mays and Sean as well battling back, and Mays is going to get Sean around the outside. Brilliant move. Sean hits the apex just a little bit too much and has a bit of a hard spin, but Mays gets the move done. He's up to P9. Plenty of mid-pack action battling going on here, and the top 5 are only separated, if I can get it right, by 2.3 seconds out on track. It's Honey Badger right on the back of Vic Mill as well. Spike right on the back of Tim Wenting as they come through into 12 and 13. Now through 12, then into 13, 14. Double left there actually, and then through 15 and 16 it's left and right. Chicane, I like to call it. 90-degree corners, designed of course by Herman Tilke this track. And Spike right on the back. First Grand Prix hosted here in 2014, and the first time the TTL F2 cars have been round here this season in Russia. Of course the feature race and then the sprint race of course for this season of TTL F2. I'm pretty sure they were in last season as well. Spike 0.4 of a second in behind Tim Wenting, and the Dutchman now under pressure. 0.3 of a second, 0.2, the gap whittling away. Spike now lunging it down the inside line into turn 1. Of course it'll favour the car on the outside line. Spike just locked up slightly, and again Vic Mill and Casper going at it. It is hard, fair racing. Honey Badger right on the back of this as well. Honey Badger trying to get the inside line on Vic Mill. The door's going to be shut. Is he going to be boxed in? Yes he does. Vic Mill down the inside of Casper. Casper's forced wide. He joins track. He will have to give up that position though, because that was illegally done. Honey Badger up the inside of Vic Mill though. Tries to lunge it, not quite. Bit of a half commitment. Can he get the move done now into turn 7? Honey Badger on the inside of Vic Mill. The track will be coming in his favour, and he just tries to lunge it down the inside. No spin there though, luckily. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. It's Andy once again. He was round at turn 1 and 2. Tim Wenting leads though by 0.4 of a second. All the battling between Casper and Vic Mill has now allowed the front 2 to get away, and it's 1.1 seconds the gap. But Spike beginning to hunt down Tim Wenting as they come now down into the braking zone of turn 12. Ooh, a little bit of contact into the braking there. Tim trying to defend the position a little bit too much. Spike holding on, grimly trying to hold it around the outside, and Vic Mill holds it around the outside, and Honey Badger's on the inside as well. It's 3 wide, oh my god! 3 wide, Casper trying to lunge it down the inside. It's very tricky to go through there. Vic Mill up the inside. Can Honey Badger get a 2-for-1 deal on both of them here? Honey Badger up the inside of turn 17 on Vic Mill. Job done, a little bit of banging wheels, a little bit of false stuff. It's 3 wide into the final corner. That is never going to work. There's all sorts of action, but Honey Badger has got the 2-for-1. He's got the move done. Spike on Tim Wenting for the lead of the race. This is unbelievable stuff. Hard, fair racing here in TTL F2, and Spike has got the move done on Tim Wenting. Down into turn 1. Vic Mill, Honey Badger, and there's Casper on the inside as well. Down into turn 1. 3 into 1 has worked somehow. And Vic Mill has came out on top as a result. Honey Badger and Casper. Casper just forced onto the contact with Honey Badger there, just forced onto the outside of the track. It is only halfway through. Alan Kay and Maximus are going at it as well, further down the field. Action for everyone in the sprint race here in TTL F2. The sprint race never fails to amaze me, honestly. Alan Kay now on the back of Maximus, trying to hunt down the inside of turn 4. Maximus just runs in a little bit too deep. Might prioritise the run for Alan Kay. Sean has got past S. Graham in the meantime, I do believe that is. So Sean, oh sorry, S. Graham, sorry, he's gone past Mays. So S. Graham up to 9th. Sean down into, Sean into 8th. S. Graham into 9th. Mays has dropped the position and he's gone down into 10th position. But 3/10 of a second separating these guys. We're only 4.5 laps to the end of this race. Tim Wenting trying to look down the inside, not gonna go for the move there. Spike has got the move done and holds on to the position in front. Tim Wenting in second, Vic Mill, Honey Badger. All the action really towards the front end of the grid here in the sprint race. Alan Kay now on the back. There's the yellow flag in sector 1 and sector 2. I would imagine it's Andy again. As long as he continues, will try and pick up punch. You never know, there could be contact ahead. He could end himself scoring some good points as Alan Kay just tried to go a bit too flat out there. And sadly, that is a mistake. That is not worthy of a commentator's curse, actually, there. Alan Kay just applying a bit too much power out the corner. It's now down into 7th as a result. Maximus is through on him. Tim Wenting on the outside line has got past Spike. Spike trying to hold it down the inside, not quite. Honey Badger is through on Vic Mill as well and behind. Honey Badger is through at the P3. Vic Mill into P4. But Vic Mill with a better run off. Down the inside now, passing the Fountain on the left-hand side. Vic Mill on the inside line, picking up a 3-second time, but he hangs off the camber of the corner and Honey Badger sells it around the outside. Beautiful stuff by the Dutchman on the pole. And Honey Badger is through and he's up to P3. 3.5 laps pretty much between now and the end of the race. And it's still Tim Wenting who leads the race. Oh, it's 4.5 laps to go. Out on track, it'll be 4 laps to go at the end of this one. I do apologise, I'm getting my laps mixed up. Tim Wenting leads the way, Spike second, but battle for third. Honey Badger, Vic Mill, S. Graham right on the back of Mays as well. We'll go to that in just a second. What a move by Tim, yeah, what a move by Tim. What great racing they went on track from pretty much everyone. Andy into the pitch, probably going for that fastest lap of the race. And speaking of the fastest lap of the race, it's Afri who's got it, 47.2. That fastest lap of the race. Vic Mill is on the back of Honey Badger though. S. Graham has dropped off now on Mays. Vic Mill careers it down the inside. He will have to give that position back as long as Honey Badger and Casper, in fact, they make contact. I think Honey Badger might have just rejoined there in a bit of a unsavoury man. I can understand he's frustrated. Vic Mill will have to give that position up to Honey Badger. And Spike has gone through on Tim Wenting as well. When did that happen? Spike has got the move done on Tim Wenting anyways. He's got the lead. Unbelievable. Vic Mill will have to give that position back though on Honey Badger. If he doesn't, I have a feeling he might be getting himself a penalty towards the end of the race. Casper and Honey Badger. I think Honey Badger rejoined in a bit of an unsafe manner. Casper, I would imagine, will be sending that in to the stewards for investigation. Didn't see it. We caught on board with it late, I'm afraid. Spike leads the way with 4 laps to go, including this one. 4 laps to go, 4/10 of a second, leading Spike to Tim Wenting in second position. Vic Mill in third, Honey Badger fourth, Casper fifth, Maximus, Alan Kay, Sean, Mays, S. Graham, Afri down 11th after early contact and broken front wing as left side end plate, and Andy down in 12th position. I do believe actually he might be getting lapped soon because Spike and Tim Wenting are only a couple of corners behind him out on track. And still 6/10 of a second separating the battle for the lead currently. Has now come through once again. Spike 7/10 leading from Tim Wenting in second. The gap has just stabilised now and Spike beginning to pull away. Maybe just wearing his tyres a little bit better than Tim Wenting at this moment in time. Just saving up a little bit towards the end of the race. Tim right on the back of Spike however. Vic Mill is in third, Honey Badger is in fourth, and he is on a man on a mission. You can really see the attack now that he is showing with the car. He is beginning to just lose control of the car slightly, but he is beginning to just overtake it a bit too much. He wants to get on and get Vic Mill before the end of this race. 1.8 seconds. It's not It's not out of the question. Afri, by the way, is closing in on S. Graham as well. 1.4 seconds of the gap. S. Graham has dropped off on Maze. That was quite close a couple of laps ago. So with 3 laps to go, Spike leads the way. 6/10 of a second from Tim Wenting in second. The gap not really going to be close enough here for the move. Never going to be close enough. You need to be within 3/10 coming off turn 1 to try and get the move done anyways. And Spike holding on out in front, Tim in second, the Brit against the Dutchman. This is Spike's retribution race, really. A disappointing race early on. Afri is on the back of S. Graham, however, in the meantime. As now, Afri tries to pick up another point, currently out on track. S. Graham tries to defend that as much as possible, but Afri on the inside line, and with the overspeed has got the move done, and with the super softs even, he's got the move done. And Afri is through and he's up to 10th position. Andy picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We'll have a ride on board then with the battle for the lead. We'll just have that in the background. I just want to have a look at the penalties. Spike has picked up a warning. Tim Wenting has picked up a penalty, interestingly enough. So has Vic Mill. Honey Badger's picked up 3 warnings. Casper's picked up 2 warnings. Maximus has picked up a warning. Alan Kay has picked up 2 warnings. 2 penalties for Sean. Mez has picked up a warning. Afri's picked up 3 warnings. S. Graham has picked up a warning. Andy has picked up a penalty. And Navy out of the race had a penalty on lap 3 as well. But focus our attention on the battle for 7th actually. Sean beginning to close in on Alan Kay, the Brit, and the Irishman. Of course, the Irishman in 7th, Brit in 8th, Alan Kay and Sean. The second separating the battle for the lead as well. So we'll just ride on board with this for now as the Campos car tries to chase down the Trident. Lap 10 out of 11 has just begun. Penultimate lap of the race. Spike leads the way by a second. I think his race now might be in safekeeping, knowing that he's got penalties in behind. Honey Badger might be inheriting 2nd place as a result of this, with all the penalties. But Alan Kay is under sustained pressure now from Sean. Both of the medium compounded tyres. Of course, they all started this race in the set of mediums, apart from Afri, who's now in a set of super softs. But Sean, in the final corner, and Andy, by the way, is also pitted on the set of medium compounded tyres. Sean, though, in 8th position, trying to hunt down with the Fish Stadium there on the left-hand side. There is the ice hockey arena on the right-hand side. And Sean on the back of Alan Kay. They come now down into turn 1 and 2 once again, and Sean on the back. I'll shut up for a moment as we come through turn 3. Really revving up the engine through the first half of the corner there, Sean. You probably heard it through my mic. And then on the second half of the corner, just didn't want to commit the corner a little bit too much. That's why you saw him throttle off the power and ensured that he got through the corner safely. Honey Badger right on the back of Vickman. There is Andy just getting out of the way after he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. Gusson is on as well. As Honey Badger is on the back of Vic Mill. 6/10 of a second. I did say he would be on top of him before the end, and he really is. He's 5/10 away. Back to the battle with Alan Kay and Sean as he comes through turn 10. Alan Kay with a much better run-off. He seems to prioritise his runs off the corner, and it really comes to an advantage here, round here in Russia. With lap 11 about to begin, the final lap of the race about to begin any second now, and that perfect timing. Spike leads the way. Tim Wenting is second. Pretty much, I think, how the order is going to shape up to be. We'll still keep on board though with Alan Kay and Sean. Closest battle on the track will put one eye as well on Vic Mill and Honey Badger. 6/10 of a second separating. Honey Badger will feel heavily adjudged by Vic Mill's dive down the inside. Of course, that will be investigated, I would imagine, if sufficient footage is provided. Honey Badger has picked up a 3-second time penalty. That was through turn 2, that was, on the left-hand side through turn 2. And we'll go on board now with this battle. It's now just about the closest battle out on track. Honey Badger really wants this. He's hunting down Vic Mill. I don't think he probably realises either that Vic Mill has got a penalty and Honey Badger doesn't. So remember that. Take that into your calculations. As Sean is on the back of Alan Kay as well. 7th and 8th position. Alan Kay, Sean again will throw off the power. Oh, Alan Kay. There was a gap up the inside, but it was always going to close. Sean, pretty much 10 out of 10 for commitment there. Alan Kay holds off the position. Honey Badger is on the back of Casper. Sorry. Honey Badger on the back of Vic Mills. Casper has dropped back as a result of that contact with Honey Badger, and Sean and Alan Kay is round. I'm not sure if there was contact there. That will be investigated, of course. Honey Badger is through on Vic Mill. Vic Mill, I think, has probably been told to let the position through, and Honey Badger is through, and he's up to third position. Vic Mill in fourth. He might be listening to the stream, so good sportsmanship shown there after the earlier contact. Vic Mill now down to fourth, Honey Badger in third, and Spike is now coming around the final couple of corners, and it is going to be the Brit who is going to take the fight to Afri in the championship. Whether it's safe or not remains to be seen. I don't think it is after this. Spike takes the win in Russia. Tim Wenting is second, but Honey Badger will get second. No, he won't. He gets a penalty, actually. Honey Badger picked up a penalty. He finishes there. Vic Mill is in fourth. Casper will come across the line to finish in fifth. Don't think many of these in the bottom half of the field have actually got many penalties, so they're probably going to be staying as they are, I think. Afri, by the way, has gained on Alan Kay as a result of his spin. Casper across the line in P5. Maximus, good performance from him. Good weekend from him in sixth. Sean in seventh. Might drop out to Mays here. And he does. Afri across the line. Doesn't gain. Alan Kay does, though, on Afri, and and S. Graham, coming across the line in 11th position. And that is the sprint race over and done with here in Russia. And it is Spike who takes the win in the sprint race. Podium celebrations in grid order to come, as to the top step of the podium for the first time tonight, and for the only time tonight, Spike takes it, the sprint race. Retribution for the contact that he had within the feature race, and he makes sure of it, and he gets the win here tonight. Great performance by Tim Wenting in second position as well. Honey Badger finishing in third. Dutchman finishing out second and third there out on track. In fact, I have a feeling Tim is actually German, and I've probably been saying he's a thingy, but that is the order, and he is actually Dutch, just to clarify. Spike wins here from sixth position on the grade. He takes the sprint race and went from Tim in second, Honey Badger in third, Vic Mill in fourth, Casper on pole finishing in fifth, Maximus in sixth, Mays in seventh, Sean in eighth, Alan Kay in ninth, Afri filling out the 10th spot, picked up the fastest lap point as well. S. Graham in 11th, Andy in 12th finished as well, and Navy in 13th with that DNF. And let's have a look at the weekend results. 33 points gained for Honey Badger. He takes the overall win here tonight. In fact, it's Spike who actually takes the overall weekend win with 30 points, 4.4. Qualifying, of course, removed. But that is it for tonight. Of course, do tune in to Thursday for TTL F1, and it will be Andy Campbell taking you through that one. And Friday, I'm back. You can't get rid of me. TTFL, I am back. Malk not going to be there, so I am going to be back for solo commentary on Friday night. So you'll see me then. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.